China has emerged as the biggest threat to the free world order in recent history. Yet, countries around the world never tried challenging the paper dragon earlier for its misadventures. However, the times have now changed and China is being challenged and beaten black and blue by almost every country. In latest news, the Philippines has now started challenging China for the naval misadventures that it is undertaking in and around Philippine waters. And guess who is helping the Philippines do so? It is none other than Japan. Hi and welcome to TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I am your host Sanbir, and in this video we'll tell you how Japan has empowered the Philippines to take on China, forcing the paper dragon to sulk in a corner. The Chinese Communist Party has made it a habit of bullying its neighbors, but it seems the patience of these neighboring countries faced with the perpetual bullying of Beijing is running thin. The Philippine military has ordered more navy ships to be deployed for sovereignty patrols in the South China Sea, where a Chinese flotilla or a militia fleet has surrounded a disputed reef and ignored Manila's demand to leave the area. The Chinese government has a standalone tactic in the South China Sea for a long time. That is, to increase activity around a reef and gradually increase the intensity of claims over the area, then reclaim land and create China-owned artificial islands. The process has been repeated and the neighboring countries have understood the CCP's modus operandi. This, coupled with the support from Japan and USA, has emboldened the Philippines to stare back at China and tell it to back off. Jai Tariella, a lieutenant commander in the Philippine Coast Guard, said that the mass of ships, which are China's militia in the guise of a fleet of fishing boats near Whitsun Reef, could become Scarborough Shoal 2.0, a disputed territory that China seized control of in 2012. And since then, China has been using the same operational tactic to take over territories of its ASEAN neighbors in the South China Sea. However, as Japan has stood overtly with the Philippines against Xi Jinping's naval invasion in Manila's exclusive economic zone, Beijing has been rattled. All this time, China was able to browbeat the regional countries into compliance and gain control over their territories with less resistance. However, with the overt support from Japan, the Philippines has gathered enough courage to deploy its navy around the area where the Chinese flotilla is gathered. As China finds its plans heading towards an obvious failure, it is throwing tantrums. China's embassy in the Philippines has blamed some external countries for stoking tensions in the region, which is directed entirely towards Japan. China's anger was directed entirely towards Japan as it responded to a Twitter remark by Japan's ambassador to the Philippines, Koshikawa Kazuhiko, who on Tuesday said his country opposes any action that heightens tensions in the South China Sea and supports international efforts to keep the waters peaceful and open. This is not entirely a first. Japan has recently also signaled support for Taiwan. Tokyo has expressed that in case of any Chinese adventurism vis-a-vis Taiwan, Tokyo will provide a full-on military as well as all other kinds of support to Taiwan. Japan's Defense Minister Nobuo Kishi mentioned a recent increase in the number of Chinese warplanes crossing the Taiwan Straits median line and the need to research ways for the Japanese self-defense forces to collaborate with US forces defending Taiwan in the event of Chinese aggression in an earlier meeting with the US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. These developments not only confirm the entry of Japan as a major independent player in the region, but also signals an entry of a Japan that is entirely focused on making sure that the Chinese designs in the region are thwarted and a free and open Indo-Pacific is maintained. In addition to this, Joe Biden and his administration tried to change course vis-a-vis US foreign policy in the Indo-Pacific. It was the unrelenting and consistent pressure from Japan and other fellow Quad members which forced Biden to toe Trump's policy. Now, with the Chinese Communist Party in no mood to ease the tensions, Japan has decided to overtly support countries that are being bullied by China and come in their defense. The support of Japan has made the Philippines confident to stand for their sovereignty. This can be proved by the statement made by the Philippines military spokesman Major General Edgar Arevalo, who said, "By the increased naval presence in the area, we seek to reassure our people of the armed forces of the Philippines' strong and unwavering commitment to protect and defend them from harassment and ensure that they can enjoy their rights over the country's rich fishing ground." These developments have rattled China, and as Japan's actions are countering any and every Chinese activity in the South China Sea and the East China Sea, China is not able to wrap its head around these developments.